What's up everybody, it's Robin Gaming here. So yesterday Shawn Layden announced that there will not be a PlayStation experience happening this year, which I understood the decision. At the same time, of course, it was a little sad to see, just because PlayStation had such a good thing going for them. They've been doing PSX ever since 2014, every single year, I think. And it kind of got better and better as well, you know, with every year that passed. The timing for it was perfect because you had E3 in June, PlayStation Experience in December, and it meant that every 6 months you had this awesome event to look forward to with great game announcements or more footage of the most anticipated games, right? So that just made it fun. It made you constantly get excited for something, or be able to at least. And like I said, in the beginning it started off pretty small. I remember the very first time they had the Uncharted 4 gameplay reveal. Apart from that, there wasn't a whole lot to talk about. Then the year after, they had Final Fantasy VII, the gameplay trailer. I think that was the last thing we've ever seen of the game, but nonetheless it was huge. And the year after especially, sort of, it came to a climax because I remember they started off with Uncharted The Lost Legacy, where we were all guessing whether we were looking at Tomb Raider or Uncharted, and then when the reveal of Chloe came, everyone's minds were pretty much blown. We had the Wipeout trailer, Crash Bandicoot gameplay for the very first time. They ended with The Last of Us Part 2, the reveal. It just made that PSX 2016 felt like a second E3 we got in a year where E3 had already been insane on itself. So Sony kind of like helped shape the expectation that was now a second huge event to look forward to every single year, and that was awesome. But obviously they sort of faced the issue afterwards that they had already announced almost everything coming up, and you can sense now that the generation is slowly coming to an end, and it means that there just isn't a whole lot to announce anymore. So what we saw last year with PSX is that it reached its low point and was the complete opposite of the PSX we saw the year before, because now they had this couch set up, and all that it came down to were, you know, interviews with developers. There were no major announcements. All that stood out about it was the Medieval remake, and the fact that we saw Kojima walk off on stage with an arm strapped to his back. But, you know, that really was about it, right? And so everybody already walked away disappointed from that PSX, and therefore I understand now, obviously, if you don't have much more to show, then just don't do PSX altogether. But nonetheless, you know, like I said, because of that expectation they created themselves, it's a little sad to see that it's not happening this year anymore. Nonetheless, though, there is still the Game Awards to look forward to. Most likely, I do expect the Death Stranding trailer to come out there, and maybe even one or two of these other major titles still for the PS4 we could see some new footage of at the Game Awards. But really what I was most interested in, based off of this no PSX announcement and what had most people talking about it on social media, was that it once again raised the question of what does this actually mean for the PlayStation 5, right? We've been talking about it for so long now. It's gonna have to be either 2019 or 2020 when the PS5 comes out. It's not gonna be any later than that, because that would mean the generation lasts like 8 years or something, which is insane. Especially in a time where hardware releases so rapidly, where it becomes outdated so quickly as well. You know, it's gonna be one of these two upcoming years. Me personally, I have always given 2020 the slight edge, and that's because the PS4 just has such a great thing going for it. Momentum is still going strong. Sure, it's sort of like, it's become less as time went on, but it's far from stagnant either, right? It's still going strong, like I said, and I would think that ending it now next year already would be a bit too quickly. I definitely would think you would want to keep that momentum going until 2020 or something like that. But nonetheless, I look at the games that are still planned, and yeah, there is still quite a list, but I could see most of it coming out next year, though, you know what I mean? Out of the 4 major titles that are still left for the PS4, I noted it down on my phone, by the way, for those of you wondering why I'm looking down. Days Gone is planned for February, so we know that one is coming out. Then we have Ghost of Tsushima, which has been in development for a very long time. I think ever since Infamous was finished, which was 2014, so you know, the game got announced, I think, in 2017. It's definitely planned for somewhere early next year, I think. I would guess about April or something like that. We have The Last of Us Part 2. That's still a question mark. Being optimistic about it, I think it's going to be June, based on the fact that that's when the very first Last of Us released. That's kind of the window Naughty Dog is aiming for right now, looking at Uncharted 4 as well, coming out in May. Game has been in development for a while as well, and I do think, judging by the fact that we have already seen gameplay and that there definitely shouldn't be that much longer of a trajectory left as far as marketing goes for the game, I expect June 2019 would be a nice window to hit, and that's what they have in mind right now. And last of all, we have Death Stranding, which is of course the one that has most people unsure when it's coming out, but at the same time, you can see even with Death Stranding, the marketing trajectory is ramping up. They just showed a new trailer at the Tokyo Game Show just 3 months after we saw the E3 trailer, and we're gonna see it again at the Game Awards probably, so we're seeing more and more of Death Stranding as well, and it's looking more and more finished at the same time. So, like I said, all of these 4 major titles, I could see them coming out in 2019, because you gotta understand, 2020, that's still quite a while away. That's gonna take longer than you think. So we'll see. We still have Concrete Genie, the Medieval remake, like I said, but those, they won't go unnoticed, but they're not in any way on the same level as these 4 major titles are. Like I said, it just begs the question, right? When is the PS5 actually coming out? Could it possibly be 2019? If it is 2020, then how exactly are you going to fill up that final year? Which games are still going to be left for that one? That should be stuff that is still unannounced right now then, but the problem is, they're not announcing anything. They decided to cancel PSX because they don't have anything to announce. So, yeah, it's a big question mark right now, and I would love to discuss it with you all in the comments, of course. I just think it's very interesting. I saw this one theory, and I guess it's the only game that I haven't touched on yet, is Dreams. Dreams is in a very weird and awkward situation where, first it got delayed for so long, then they brought it back, now they haven't talked about it for ages again, seemed to come out first 2018, now it's not gonna be, it's gonna be 2019, but we're still not finding out anything about it. That game is in a very, very weird situation, and what I saw somebody point out is that if the PS5 turns out to release in 2019, it makes a whole lot of sense to actually delay Dreams for the beginning of the next generation. Why? Well, first of all, because the game needs longevity. It's a play, create, share type title, which means that if you're gonna bring it out in the final phase of a console, then it's not gonna be able to have that longevity that you want for the game. And at the same time, it's in this, it has this problem that not many people really care about Dreams right now. So releasing it alongside all these other major titles, you risk that it's just not gonna, that it's not gonna take off in the slightest. And so releasing it at the beginning of a generation, as a launch title, for example, means that you're gonna be releasing it alongside a very limited list of other titles. And it means that more people will be buying the game and that it can have that longevity because it literally comes out at the start of a generation. So, yeah, going off a theory like that, it makes a lot of sense that if a PS5 comes out 2019, Dreams could release alongside of it and won't have the problems most likely that it is going to have right now if it would still release on the PS4. You can really go on a tangent with all of this stuff, and there's, it's just lots of speculation, of course, but that's understandable because we don't have the answers whatsoever. Let me know how you feel about all of this in the comments, because I'd love to discuss it some more with you all there. And I'll really quickly let you know that I've been working on this massive Tomb Raider retrospective, looking back at the last 3 games that have come out, because I recently played Shadow of the Tomb Raider and I wanted to, sort of dedicate a huge video towards it. Been working on that for the last 2 weeks, so that's why you haven't seen me really upload too much. But look forward, to that coming out over the next few days somewhere when it's finished. And then for now, I'd like to thank you a lot for watching and hope to see you again next time.